I done made it, bruh.
You feel me?
I done made it through. $1 Million Basement, man. Roscoe Dash is exclusive. Salute 2 hands, man. If I had 3 hands, I'd give you another one for sure.
Yeah, I like freaks, went under seats, smoking on kill, I'm talking to seats.
Roscoe Dash, how you feeling?
Feeling great, man. How you feeling?
I'm wonderful, bro. Glad to have you in the building. You came to the basement.
For sure. We finally in the basement. Long overdue. We here.
So what you been working on?
A little bit of everything, man. I've been trying to not sell myself short. I've been working on some producing, developing some artists and producers as well. I actually got a film coming up too that I'm in. Doing everything, man. I just played in a celebrity flag football game this past weekend. I'm doing anything I can get my hands on.
So as far as the music, you got new songs coming out?
Yeah, I just put out 2 new records actually like a week and a half ago. One of them is an intro that to one of my projects that I actually released previously last year on Key Wave's project. It's called Sco Let's Go Intro. We just put a video out for that. And then I got another record called It's Above Me that I just put out, produced by LDV.
So as far as the music that you've made in the past, you still getting paid off that?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
So are you in any type of deal?
Nah, I'm independent, completely.
You've always been independent?
Since about 2012.
Okay, so what songs did you have before you was independent? Well, before you was independent, what songs?
Pretty much everything except for like So Many Girls, like the other stuff like that, like Stay Trill with Trey the Truth. I had another joint with Trey the Truth and Wiz Khalifa. Had a record come out with Travis Scott. Stuff like that.
These are songs that came out
afterwards.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Were these because of the connections that you made while you were under your label?
Absolutely. I think everything really came from the connections that I made. Like, even with my 2.0 project, which is one of my most notable projects, I did all that off my cell phone. That was just with relationships and just getting in with people, moving around, getting the records done and stuff like that. We actually did that record in like 3 weeks, I think.
So you've been making music a long time. Like, what got you motivated when you started?
Just staying out the way, man. I've always been somebody that just wanted to kind of go against the grain. I got in trouble a lot when I was in school. I got kicked out of like 8 schools. So to me, I needed to be inside. I started using my time on suspension a little bit more wisely and just kind of started developing my craft, which was at the time was making beats and rapping as well.
So when you first started rapping, were you rapping over your own beats?
Yeah, I was actually rapping over my brother's beats. I got an older brother that's like 10 years older than me. His name was Undisputed. I think I did like a pep rally when I was in like 7th grade, and we rapped over his beat. I actually got my teacher to come on stage and rap with me. That's when I knew I had some charisma, some following or something like that, some support, should I say.
So folks been cheering you on the stage since you was in 7th grade?
For sure.
Okay, so this is nothing new.
This is nothing new.
So when you make a beat, do you prefer, like in 2023, when you drop a beat, do you prefer to be on it or have someone else jump on it?
Nah, man, honestly, I didn't even know I was a songwriter until somebody told me I was a songwriter. Like, most people hang themselves up because they want to keep all the songs or whatever for themselves, but No Hands wouldn't be what No Hands was if I kept it for myself. You know what I mean? If I just tried to get all the notoriety for myself and keep it on my project, only drop it on my album, which is usually what labels are going to push to do so they can make their money or whatever the case may be. But with me, I had a real relationship with these guys, so I wanted the record to be successful. So if that meant it coming out on another label or one of my colleagues or whatever, I'm cool with that. So it's the same thing in 2023 for me. I'll give it to wherever it sounds good at.
So did you write No Hands?
Yeah, that's me.
The whole thing?
Nah, everybody did their verses and stuff like that, but the idea of the song, the hook, my verse was all me.
So what's your favorite song you ever made?
The one that pays me the most is probably No Hands, Lotus Flower Bomb, and Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay.
Okay, so you were real tied in with Big Sean,
yeah,
MG,
Sean, Kanye,
all that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still having a relationship like that with them these days?
Relationships change, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, in this industry, it's really hard. You know, you can't control what somebody else is dealing with or what they got going on. So for me, it's just about being supportive and just sticking to what got us there in the first place, which is the music. So whenever they call and be like, hey, we need one of them ones, we ready for you, I got it.
But as of recent, it hasn't been like that?
Nah, I run into people, though. I run into Sean maybe like a year or so ago. I talked to him around, we got the same birthday, around the same birthday. So we usually talk around that time.
Okay, for sure. So how did you find out about the basement?
Man, actually, I ran into somebody in a bar in Atlanta. I forgot what bar I was at. But they told me about it, and I just started following. I've been following for like over a year now, and just supporting silently, you know what I'm saying, and dying to get in here. So today's that day. This reminds me a lot of like Rap City the Basement, the stuff I came up on. So I love the fact that we're re-implementing that into the culture and shit like that. I had to come through for sure.
That's a fact.
No, I just have a general question.
how does it feel knowing you contributed to the party aspect of what hip hop music is? Like, it's not arguable. Like, you did that. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you for that.
It doesn't flowers for sure. Like, it don't matter what club, what year, you gonna come on,
Facts.
girl, the way you. It's off rip.
Facts.
And the vibe never changes since the first day.
I appreciate that.
So I just want to know, how does that feel to have accomplished something like that, to have an imprint and stamp that's not going to be deleted?
Facts. At first it was kind of overwhelming, I ain't gonna lie, because I knew when we put that song out, once it started getting the traction, it was received the way it was. I was like, man, we got a new age back that ass up. Like, this shit ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But to me, the biggest part of it is like when I meet people, I do a lot of frat parties and work at the colleges and shit like that. And when I run into these people and they're like, man, this was going on when I was in middle school or whatever, this got me through this. Or even with older people, when they're like, this was my college days or whatever. I love being an imprint in people's lives in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Whether that be this when you met your joint that was, you know what I'm saying, you still with now, or the one that got away or whatever. Man, I used to do this. I used to knock them down to this, or I used to be outside to this or whatever. That's what really keeps me going, is that I got a hand in how people handle their everyday lives, their everyday activities and shit like that.
I feel like a lot of artists try to strive to make a song like that, try to make a hit song, and ultimately a lot of careers end up going down because you've put in so much time to try to make one song. Thanks. And you've made several songs of that nature that aren't gonna die down. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't like to compare anything, but you have what's unarguable to me to be a dreams and nightmares.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, every time, no matter what club, it's gonna go up. Hoes gonna do what they gonna do, and we love you for that because we love you.
That was my mindset. I ain't gonna cap, bro. That was my mindset. Like, and I think I told Waka this, man. I was like, we was in there, we was working on this. We was actually working on something else. We had a whole nother style of music we was gonna introduce, but that day, that shit got pushed to the back burner. Cause I was like, yo, chicks love you, bro. They love you for what you do, like just being who you are. You know what I'm saying? Being outside, being in the streets, representing the way you represent or whatever. So if you make a song for the ladies, bro, you're gonna win for the rest of your life, because one, niggas ain't gonna be fighting in the club or doing none of that shit if the chicks is moving, doing anything or whatever. They gonna be distracted by that to be beefing with whoever it is they beefing with. So when you control that aspect of it, you're gonna control everything in the club. You know what I'm saying? And if you can implement fun into that, which is what I think we've gotten away from with music, you're gonna win and be successful as well. So I just try to focus on that. What feels good? What can I see somebody performing on a stage in front of a billion people or whatever the case may be?
So what advice do you have to any up and coming artists?
For me, man, my thing is always treat the studio like the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where you get your shots up at. So don't be afraid because you got your homies or you got a chick in here or whatever to like let loose and find that new sound and find your stride in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I think being different is what sells. That's what wins. When I came out, I was putting I'm the first nigga with a mohawk like that had the designs in the side, put glitter in my shit even, whatever it was. And I didn't care about what people thought because it was about the influence for me. It was about teaching people to let go of what the fuck the stereotype is. You know what I'm saying? And just being free to be themselves and be creative or whatever. And so that's gone a long way to watch that transition into what we got now with people with the dreads, with colored hair or whatever the case may be, or wearing fashion forward clothes or whatever the case may be. Like, I feel like that all stems from getting rid of that stereotype and living outside that box.
What's your best memory from your career?
Meeting Jay-Z, bro. I thought that was hard. Like, just being in that whole aspect. I got to go to the Mercer, which they rapped about. Everybody rapped about in their songs and shit like that. I was in there. And when I walked in, it was like a room full of people. You know what I'm saying? A room full of people who I grew up listening to and shit like that. The Kid Cudis. Even seeing Bentley Farnsworth with Outkast, that was big to me. You know what I'm saying? So being able to talk to them, Don C, Kanye himself, Noah, who's Jay-Z's like, extend the beat, Noah in the song and shit like that. That was the hard part for me. And just having them be receptive, you know what I'm saying, and respect me for what I did and what I contributed to the game and to the culture and shit like that. Being able to sit in a round table like we sitting right now and play music, everybody passing the aux around and getting that type of response or feedback or whatever from people who you respect.
So would you take that $100,000 or like just to meet Jay-Z again?
I'll meet Jay-Z again. I can make tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars for meeting him for sure.
All right.
What would you tell 5-year-old self you? Where you at now? What would you say to your 5-year-old self?
I would say you was right, nigga. I was like, you was right, bruh. And they try to put you in a box, man. So keep going. That's really what my advice would be to keep going, man. And don't be afraid to be different. Stand on what you believe in, your morals and beliefs always, man. And don't let nobody change or fade or distort that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know you got something and you know it's the next thing, or you know you on the right track and you doing what feels good for you, and you know you're a good person, then what can come negative out of that? Nothing negative is gonna come from that. You know what I mean? So keep doing what you're doing.
So in 2020, when well, not 2020, 2010, when No Hands dropped, what was the first time you got paid from that? Like,
bruh, I think I was on the road. I was actually this shit crazy. I was actually on the road. I was on like a 30 or 45 day tour. We was making so much fucking money at that time. Like, just on the bus, we had to like hide money on the bus. It was so much money. Like, and I remember getting my first check, and it was like, it wasn't a crazy amount compared to what I was getting at the time, but it was a mailbox check for $75,000. You know what I'm saying? I told my mama to go put that shit, go buy a car or some shit. Like, she needed a new car. I was like, just go take it. So being able to say that,
because you was having money on tour every night type thing.
We had like, we was moving around. We had like some real paper on the bus, like close to $500,000 and shit like that. Just
who was you on the bus with?
Just me and my crew.
Okay, so y'all was really getting to it. Like, No Hands was going crazy.
We was going dumb. And you got to think too. Like, we had a lot of No Hands was like when everybody really knew, like, damn, okay, this is undeniable. He has a sound. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the records before then and the work that I was putting in to get to that point is really what solidified that record in itself. Otherwise, it would have just been a hit record. You know what I'm saying? But me, Waka, and Wale were all notable people. We had all done our due diligence. We had already been, you know, where we at. We was already trying to figure out how to be better than where we were. So when that song came out, it was like an overflow.
So you was real tapped in with Waka? You still tapped in with him?
Yeah, hell yeah. Wale too. Me and Wale was like, after that, me and Wale went through it. Because you gotta think I did Lotus Flower Bomb for him too. So in that time span, we was like every day with it. We call and check it on each other. That's the way it should be, bro. It should be a brotherhood. Niggas should be able to fellowship and shit like that.
So being as though you made a hit song before and it's been over 10 years, do you feel like you have to do that again, or do you feel like that's something that could just stay in the past and you could just drop music regularly now?
I think that
is it always pressure to drop it?
I think people fall off when they focus on the success that they've already done. You know what I mean? The things that they've already accomplished and shit like that. Like, to me, it's about when you make a record, I wanna be better than the last thing I did. You know what I'm saying? I wanna catch a whole new vibe and apply the same charisma that this record had to a whole new wave of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanna just continue to be innovative. That's really the goal for me.
So what's the artist that you look forward to working with?
Oh man, there's a few of them, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I really just came on to another guy too, but I'll get to that in a second. So the people who I've been listening to a lot is like Don Toliver, Sofago. I've been listening to, on the R&B side, I've been listening to Jermaine Elliott a lot. People who I want to work with though, like that's just on the top of my bucket list and shit like that, is like Andre 3000. I want to get a record in with Eric Bellinger. I've been kicking it with him a lot lately. I actually got a show with him. Well, not a show. I don't have a show, but I'm going to his show tomorrow. Just to show some support and shit like that. So I want to do one with Kanye with just like me and him, maybe somebody else, but I want it to be focused around me and him as a collaborative and shit like that. So I'm just down to create new genres of things. Even when I work with other artists and shit from the songwriting aspect, I like to get them to a place that they haven't been before. I like to focus on what the next thing and what's the highest level you can see yourself, and let's go on top of that shit.
Now talk to me about songwriting. You get booked up a lot for that?
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, you just go to the studio and vibe out with the artist and y'all just collab basically? Yeah,
so for me, my process is getting to know them first, you know what I mean? And not sitting down learning the whole life story necessarily, but just like where they're at and what inspired them to do music, what they're what things that they like, you know what I'm saying, that they haven't done yet at the same time. So if you grew up listening to Missy Elliott, but you making shit like Trap Boy Freddy, then we got to figure out a way to create some balance there. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to find something that's got a little bit more movement in it on some Missy shit, and you can still talk that talk. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what it's about for me, finding the next wave of thing, that next tier, that next level.
You kind of help artists find their lane.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who's some female artists in the game you want to work with?
SZA. I like SZA a lot. I like her. I love SZA before this last album too. So just for the record, it ain't just for the hype. It's like I just love her. You know what I'm saying? So people like that, man. And I really honestly just love people who make great music. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So did No Hands go platinum or gold?
Man, that shit is like, I don't even know how many times platinum. It went platinum like 3 times last year, I think.
You get a plaque every time, or?
Yeah, I should be.
Okay, but do you go pick them up, or?
Yeah, you gotta order them shits and then get them sent to you.
Okay, how many plaques you done got ordered to you?
To be honest with you, bro, I don't even be keeping up with I got like a whole bunch of plaques on back order. I don't even be going to pick up. I got all, if it ain't ASCAP awards or some shit that I went to a ceremony to get and receive, then I'd be like, I'll get it later. Because I don't ever want to get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look up and be like, man, I already did this. And a lot of times when I go to other people's houses, like my homie Key Wayne, he out here. When I go to his spot, he got like Ariana Grande plaques, Beyonce plaques, Drake plaques, and shit like that. So when I go in there, it's almost overwhelming to me, even though I got success. I'm like, damn, nigga, you done did. You know what I'm saying? So I don't ever want to get comfortable or complacent with the work that I've already completed.
Now we talk about No Hands, but let's also mention All the Way Turned Up, which is another song, Undisputed. It's not gonna die down. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the process and the effort into making such songs? Because, like I said, a lot of artists, they going through 10 writers and 2 labels just to make a song like that. So, like, what is your process to getting that?
For me, in that situation, I was like in a really overwhelming situation then. I'm an Aries, bro, so like whenever my back up against the wall is when I get in my bag. You know what I'm saying? So I think my mom was like moving. I was like in the house by myself, big ass crib by myself and shit like that. With like me and my dog, and all I had was the studio and shit. So I like put up some U-Haul blankets and shit. I'm 17 at the time. I like put up some U-Haul blankets, wrapped a washcloth and a rubber band around the microphone and shit like that. And I just started cooking up shit. I was working on like Adobe Audition 4.0, I think. Autotune it just came out. Like that shit wasn't even autotune for real. And I was like listening to a lot of Lil Jon and like Young LA and shit too. I actually grew up a lot on Young LA and shit like that too. And so I wanted to make something that was like a little bit more turned, that just had some melody to it. I was like, nobody sings on 808s in the club, so what is that gonna sound like? So I just did that shit and came up with it. I was like, what's the highest level of crunk? Let's come up with a new term for that. And Turned Up was that. So I knew instantly that shit was a hit. I had it for like 8-9 months before I even played it for anybody.
Would you say you coined the phrase "turned up"?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
Talking about we took it from crunk to turned up. Now we lit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about just notable people making phrases. You have Lil Wayne making "bling bling,"
yeah,
and then we have you making "turned up." Like, that's an everyday saying. From little kids to grown ass folk.
Yeah.
Nick got me turned up right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's dope as hell to just know, like, you've impacted not only, well, shit, the culture. It's just, all this is turned into is the culture nowadays. Like, everything we grow up off of and what we get influenced and inspired from comes from you. Right. Comes from the likes and minds of you. Nice. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty outstanding. You know what I'm saying? Just to know that, like, I done coined the phrase that I'm pretty sure when you said it, you might not have been thinking 10 years down the line. You thinking right now these niggas gonna say it because I'm turned up, so they gonna be turned up with me.
Facts. But
you done turned up to another level. You feel me?
It didn't set in until like the BET Awards, and it was like on national television. Like that's when it set in. Like, oh shit, like we got something outside of just the record. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. That's dope as hell, bro.
Thank you, bro.
So what beats do you be into these days?
Anything different, bro. I got like a whole bunch of shit. I'll play out some shit when we get off camera too. But I just been tapping in on just the different stuff, bro. I want to bring fun back to the club. I was at a show I had a couple of days ago or some shit, and the DJ just went so crazy, bro. He went in that bag and played like old K-Cam that I don't really know about you. I was like, oh my god, bro. I was like, where is this type of shit in the club, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is when music was fun. This is when you could fucking wake up the next day and talk about what you did last night and shit. Like, niggas make it home and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I just want to get back to that, bro. I want to get back to having fun. I want to create a safe environment. I got kids, so I don't want them to go out and have some fun and have to worry about a whole bunch of extra shit because niggas on pills and goddamn everything else. You know what I'm saying?
So, where did you grow up?
A little bit of everywhere, bro. I'm from the original Capitol Homes before they flattened it out, like the original. You know what I'm saying? Then I went to Stone Mountain Elementary. From there, I went to Sweetwater Middle School, and I graduated from, well, I didn't graduate, but my last thing of schooling was Mill Creek High School. So I've been a little bit of everywhere.
What year did you leave high school?
Cap, you been everywhere.
07?
Mm-hmm.
So, at what age were you when your music career like took off to the point where it was like, oh yeah, I ain't need this shit no way?
It was like honestly, dog. Okay, so this is how this shit went. Like I got in trouble a lot when I was in school. I ended up having a kid early on too. I think I was 17 when I had my first daughter, and I ended up getting out of school. I got kicked out for breaking up a fight or some shit, and I went and got my GED, and I used that GED to get into college early. So when I got into college early, I literally was in college for like 2 weeks, bro, and Turned Up took off, and I was like, bet.
That's it.
See, y'all got any more?
Yeah, I got. So, what was it like? See, $1 million today ain't $1 million when you started your career. What was it like to touch your first $1 million, and how did you spend your first $1 million?
Shit. Well, I don't know how that shit got spent. It got spent though, for sure. That shit got spent. But I mean, it just felt good, bro, to come from where I came from and like having the childhood that I had coming up in a single parent household, me and my mom and shit like that, and having it turn into something that's, you know, been able to provide for me and my kids and my family and shit like that today is just an undescribable feeling. Like, and it just motivates me to want to instill that in the other people that's coming up around, you know what I'm saying, like around me or whatever. Even people that ask for advice or people who I just see on a day-to-day basis, I gravitate to them and want to just offer that naturally, you know what I'm saying? So it just feels good to just be in the space I'm in.
How do you feel about people walking up on you trying to play a record? They latest hit. Hey, check this shit out, bro. That shit sound.
Man, this the thing, bro. You can always the hit record just gets you in the door. What keeps you there is the etiquette and how you carry yourself. You know what I'm saying? So some people ain't always on it. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Not to say come up on me like that, but I'm saying I'm cool though. You know what I mean? But a lot of people ain't gonna be on that, and you might blow your opportunity just from approaching them that way. So just, you know, have some etiquette, man, and grace, and then know you tight on top of that, and you'll be alright.
So we coming on about 15 years in the game. What do you think? Shit, you done had a lot of lessons. So if you could give me your 3 biggest lessons, what would you say they are?
My 3 biggest lessons would probably be never stop believing in yourself, for 1. 2, never be afraid to be different. And 3, never stop going. That's probably it.
Okay, for
For
sure.
sure. $1 million basement, we in it big. $1 million basement, $1 million on the floor, man. You already know Roscoe Dash. Salute 2 times by 3 hands.
Appreciate you for coming through.
My boy Roscoe. Hey man, I got
Can you say it's Roscoe Dash and we rocking with Street Sauce?
Hey, what it do, man? It's your boy Roscoe Dash. Checking in, man. We rocking with Street Sauce. You already know it, man.
Roscoe. I got some videos out here, some old ass videos. When I was a little kid, I used to play the drums. So all your songs, they still on YouTube somewhere.
Bruh, find them.
I'm gonna send it to you when I find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
I'm supposed to make go viral real quick.
Yeah, I used to be in the country, so I used to be playing drums like outside to like everybody music type shit.
That's fine.
When I was a little kid.